Hi, I'm Inanna, and I am channeling 17 days of no self, going into deep meditation to give you the answers on self mastery from my highest self as someone with Christ consciousness. Today, during meditation, I received the light code that I should teach you how to build a prayer matrix board on paper. This prayer matrix board was inspired by knowing the guardians of the Duwatch that I saw at the Metropolitan Museum of Art one day. And I noticed structurally how there were four pillars or four candles in the structure of these prayers. Not fully understanding the hieroglyphics is one thing, but what I have come to realize is that mathematics and numbers is the language of the universe. So I don't need to write hieroglyphics, but we can use numbers. This is not my first prayer matrix board. How I received this information was told to me that you're using numbers, which is the language of the universe, and we're talking about ones and zeros, which is binary code, and all of that can translate into light, wavelength, and sound and frequency. However, it's kind of like you taking those numbers as they explain using Grabavoid codes. However, we're going to do a structured, functional Grabavoid code board so that we can obey the rules of how we should go about manipulating the light. I do believe that Grabavoid codes are powerful. However, I think they do need some guardrails in terms of how you're using them, because when you're plugging in numerical values into the matrix, you are literally changing and rippling through the fabric of life. What you should think about is the fact that you're plugging in these numerical values, and those numbers are being plugged into a numerical system in a higher order within the world matrix number system. So basically, it's going to have a ripple effect, and you need to be careful as to the numbers that you use and what it is that you're seeking to change. There are some ground rules to use this. However, I have been using it since 2023 and on a much higher level, actually, and I have seen almost about 80% of the things that I put on that paper come to fruition in the real world in real time, especially the things with my own personal life. So I'm going to teach you how to architecturally build it, how to structurally make it sound, and how to stay within the rules or the parameters of operating prayers so that you can get the most effectual altar that you can. And we're going to strictly stick to numerical values. No words will be on the board. What we're going to do is translate words into numbers, okay? And we're going to use gematria or simple gematria, which is the 1 through 26 of the alphabet, to create the phrases that we want to ask for on this prayer board. And then we're going to put that in the columns exactly as you see on the duat, okay? And we're going to put it into 5 columns. I want you to think about this prayer matrix board as seeing a vast array of numerical values as it is in the matrix. Remember in the movie The Matrix, there were all these numbers running down the screen. So let's think of that as all of our code that exists within the digital reality or the digital seat. When we're plugging into these prayers, we're going to petition the All Father and the Earth Mother, and we're going to plug our numerical values in for each of those sections or those 5 sections. And then those particular prayers are going to get plugged into the larger matrix, and they will have a ripple effect in terms of what is going to be changed and when. Okay, there's no timeline on how this works. It all depends on what needs to move out of the way numerically once you plug that in order for the ripple to get down to answering that particular prayer in the matrix. I'm going to teach you how to structurally create and activate this board using the numerical values solely. Okay, and I want to lay down a few ground rules before creating your board. Remember, you always want to, 1, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That means that you don't want to exact things onto others that's going to have a negative effect that you otherwise wouldn't want to ripple back to you. Be careful what you're plugging into this board. Do not infringe or attempt to infringe on the free will of others. Okay, this is extremely important. When it comes to you and your own personal life, nothing is off limits in terms of the things that you want to exact and change within your own sphere of influence, meaning that it affects you so you can affect it. This prayer board is a very, very powerful tool. I am a witness to this. However, obeying the rules, respecting the free will of others, and exacting the change that you want to see within your own sphere of influence is key in order for this to work. We don't want to cause ripple effects on a larger scale. So stick to the rivers and lakes that you're used to, meaning that stay within your own sphere of influence. There are people on a higher level that are working on the spiritual warfare of the earth, and you've already won, quiet as kept. What my job is now is to teach you how to change your world. And by changing your world in a positive way, this will ripple out and change the world around you for the better. It's time for us to vibrate higher. It's time for us to ascend into higher thoughts of consciousness. So this is the perfect time for that. The reason why I tend to stick to numbers versus words is because the English language and languages are structurally babble, meaning that a lot of the words are anagrams, okay, and they have double entendres. So to be more clear and precise, and plug into the actual numerical matrix of words, we translate them into numbers so that we're not doing anything to adversely affect ourselves and others by using words that have double meanings and have all of these anagrammic implications, okay? We translate our words into numbers. We are going to divide our prayer board into 5 columns, and each of those columns are going to start with the number 4, which represents our 4 candles. It represents the 4 quadrants of earth. It represents the 4 corners. It represents the All Father and the Earth Mother, and it represents all of the choices you can make. The crossroads, everything is included. The circle is included in this number 4. Under those 5 columns that has the 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, we're going to use the body as our point of reference. So we're going to have a section for the head. We're going to have 2 sections for each arm, which is the right and the left, the receiving and the giving. And we're going to have 2 sections for the leg and the leg, okay? And these particular sections are going to have their own individual purposes. When you think about the head, you're thinking about thoughts, emotions, all of the things that affect you mentally. It's going to be the things that you desire for your own self and your mental health, and the things that you desire to exact as far as your own personal willpower. This could be wanting to get over an addiction. This could be something as simple as I want to get negative thoughts out of my head. I do not wish to be depressed, etc. All of that is going to go within the headspace. Under the hands columns or the arms columns, you're going to think about your hands. What you're going to place in that particular section are the things that you exact with your hands as far as giving and receiving, okay? This could be abundance. This could be, and I don't like to use money. Let's just be clear. When you're talking about receiving something in a natural sense or in the order of what it actually should be, abundance is freely given. Fruits on trees, water, free, everything. We're talking about the flow of receiving. So if you're talking about receiving abundance and nourishment, use your words carefully and try not to center money in that, because it is not the divine thing. The divine thing is you being provided for without having to do any type of arduous labor or anything weird for it. We're not sacrificing anything. We're not doing blood, sweat, and tears. Okay. So you want to speak in terms of abundance and receiving and giving. This could also be in talents, because we're talking about things that you're doing with your hands or exacting with your hands. So if there's anything you want to receive and anything you want to give, and that could even be like a degree, I want to receive a diploma, you would put that in the hands column. And anything that you're doing with your hands, as far as even gardening, or you want to play the guitar, you would put that in the hands column. You want to think about each of these columns as far as the action that is being taken with the body, okay? So the head and the arms have their own function. The legs, you want to think about people and places, okay? So when you think about the legs, you're thinking about walking, going places, traveling, okay? You're thinking about walking in and out of someone's life, or someone walking in and out of yours. Your feet are your souls, okay? And the souls represent people or souls or beings. When you talk about the soles of your feet, you're talking about the foundation of everything that you are and what you stand on. So soles is a double entendre for the feet as far as foundation and the soles of individuals and people. So think about it as people who walk into your sphere, because for someone to come into your life, they have to actually walk into it, okay? And for you to walk into someone else's life, you have to actually walk into it. You're using your feet, okay? Not the hands. It's important for you to delineate each of these columns based on what it is that you're asking, and you can use your own discernment for that. I would really take the time for every single thing that I am asking to be sure that it's not something that is done out of selfish intent, or something that I wouldn't want to harm other people with, or I wouldn't want done to me. Okay. Think about this in a very, very sacred way. When you're opening your prayer board, you want to address the All Father and the Earth Mother. I don't like to get into names, okay? Because that in and of itself is so nebulous. We're talking about entities that are sovereign, okay? And it's not necessary always for you to name that entity, because there's so many arguments around names. You're like, oh, it's Yahuwah, Yeshua, Jesus. Da, da, da. Let me tell you something. Based on my experience, God is well aware of who you are and what God is, okay? So you don't need to go through all these extraneous, well, what should I call it? What should I call it? No, we're not going to argue about that today. We're going to use the command prompts, the All Father and the Earth Mother only. This terminology is well documented, okay? It's not something that I'm making up. And I have a tried and true practice of using these terminologies and getting what it is that I need exacted. What I am demonstrating here is science, okay? We're light bending through numbers, because on a quantum level, everything is frequency and light and wavelength and can have a numerical value attached to it. So we're using the numbers like grab avoid codes in order for us to make changes within the physical realm, okay? But we're going to structurally do it in a way so that it's not infringing on the freedoms of others and it's not harming anything in the world. We're using it to create a positive sphere of influence around ourselves and to better our own personal lives, okay? So just trust me on this. It is a science. It has absolutely nothing to do with any type of religious dogma that you want to bring in here today. First, you want to start by drawing an arch, and I use an arch as it is a symbolic and energetic gateway used in temples, tombs, and cathedrals and ceremonial rites, and it acts as a door for all of these prayers to enter in through, okay? So we're always going to think about sacred geometry in this way. Now I'm dividing off the 5 columns for each of the sections, and I'm drawing 2 distinct lines for the 444 and the numbers for the body parts, which is the head, leg, arm, etc. I'm also putting candles up at the top, and I'm just decorating my altar. You can put whatever you want on the top of your altar, but I'm using 16 candles, okay? Next, we're going to place our prayer opening sequence at the top in the arch, which is directed towards the All Father, Earth Mother. If it's in your will, please grant me. And the following prayers, translate your full name into gematria so you can have a personal address within these prayers, because you want to identify yourself. And here I'm just continuing to add my candles in. And now I'm also entering the sequence Ashe, 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 4 Ashes at the bottom, which is 7777, to close out the prayer. And I usually take different colors to represent what it is that I want to embody. Like right now, I'm filling the top with the green, which is the heart chakra of love. I'm filling in the brown of the body parts, the head, leg, arm parts, with brown to represent the ground or the earth. When thinking about what colors to use for what prayer, you want to think red as fiery or charged up, blue as like water, green as like the heart chakra of love, etc. You want to correlate the colors with exactly what it is that you are seeking to do. And now I'm filling in my arch because I want it to be like a blue watercolor. I want this to be like a water gateway because water is my favorite element and it's very fluid. It helps to move energy through this particular portal that I'm creating for my prayers to be exacted. Add a circle so you can have an activation portal, and here you will put like holy water or Florida water to activate. And here I am just coloring in the rest of the board with whatever colors I want, cleaning it up. And yeah, that's pretty much basically it. You can put whatever prayers you want numerically within this board. Feel free to decorate it however you so choose. This is just an example and the creativity is totally up to you. 9 is the head, 5 is the arms, and 6 are the legs. You can choose which one you want to be right or left. Feel free to design your own board and post it in the comments. I would love to see what you guys come up with. I hope you enjoyed this message. Please like, share, and subscribe, and put a comment down in the comments just to let me know what you think of this content overall. If you would like to see more content like this, I'm more than happy to produce it. Just let me know down below. Keep shining bright. Peace, love, and light.